How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about GGPI, which was up almost 1% on the Friday. I've been getting a lot of messages saying, Dre, we need an update. The market is picking back up. Where do you see this stock going? We'll talk about it further. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for GGPI. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $10.33, being up 0.98%. On the low, it tested $10.21, and then on the high, testing $10.44. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 2.981 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 2.565 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and we also saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 41.88, curling up, looking good there. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 50-day, the 200-day, and we're also below the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that GGPI is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. But when we take a look at this chart real quick and what's been going down recently, we are on a steady uptrend. Of course, we're able to find support right here around $10. And as you can see, $10 has held up very well. We've seen it act as support back on the 11th and as well as for the 12th. And then we see a continuation of that on the 23rd and as well as for the 24th. And now we're steadily moving up, trying to get to the 21-day EMA, which is at $10.46. We saw a high at $10.44 on the Friday. So for this coming week, I want to see this uptrend continue. The next area where I could start seeing GGPI having some resistance might be around this $10.67 range. But of course, we're looking for a move above the 21-day EMA, which is not a lot to ask. And if we're able to break above this level right here in the 1060s, that's where I want to see GGPI making that move to the 200-day moving average right here at $11.01. I feel this is very achievable for this play, especially over the next 2 weeks. But if we decide to consolidate and move slow, because again, the stock does not see a ton of volume, even if we get to around $10.70 and just consolidate around this level and then get ready for the next move up, that is perfectly fine as well. So GGPI is definitely looking decent. Let's see if we can get that move, like I said, to around the $10.60 range for the coming week. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for GGPI. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings, you can see it's mainly closed positions. Most recent for May the 27th, we have Walleye Capital LLC, which had calls and they closed their positions out. When we see for new positions, we have Skyview Investment Advisors LLC, which was on the 17th that purchased 24,916 shares. And then we have SG3 Management LLC that went in with some puts with a value of shares of 10,000. But we can clearly see that they are hedging because you see they have puts and they had calls. So overall, not much institutional activity going on for GGPI. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 58.67%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 903,267 shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 100,000, updated 11 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 4.57%. 0.07%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 26th, it was at 45.97. And then for the close of the 27th, being at 58.67. So it has gone up quite a bit, but taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float only being at 9.93%, GGPI doesn't have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for GGPI. So we see here on the inflow, it was at 5.92 million, and then on the outflow, it was at 6.26 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.62 million. On the medium, it was 4.24 million. And then on the small, it was 1.06 million. On the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0.28 million. On the medium, it was 4.86 million. And then on the small, it was 1.12 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for May the 27th, we had that inflow of 0.34 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 2.98%. So not too bad for a stock like GGPI. We have to understand it does trade at relatively low volume. So you're not going to be seeing strong moves in price action and so forth. I'll talk about it further in the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for GGPI, that's going to be bringing Polestar public. To get some more news on that, so for June the 22nd, shareholders will be able to vote on the merger. So this is very exciting, and I could see some anticipation leading up to this date. But as far as the price action is concerned, if you guys remember what I was saying, since this is a SPAC, the floor price is at $10. So we've seen many different occasions where it tested around this range as far as on the low under $10.10. So I'm talking about $10.08 and so forth. And seeing this continuously happen, and now the stock is on an uptrend due to the fact it's been able to form higher highs for the past 4 trading days. And like I said in the video, it is a slow mover because it trades at low volume. You need more volume to come into the play to see some strong moves in price action. So I know you could agree with me when I say this. The level that we want to see it get to is around 1067. And then after that, we know that $11 is a psychological area for this play. So if it's able to get there, that's where we want to see the buyers wanting to step in. But as far as from where it's at right now, and you guys know, I like to load up on some shares when it's trading below $11. And I bought some when it was trading close to $10. You want to make sure you're minimizing your risks and you're maximizing your reward. So if you've been buying up shares when it was trading close to $10, you are definitely going to be seeing some green. And I want to make sure that is something that you are in the know about. So that's why I said as far as risk to reward ratio in these volatile markets that we have been having, GGPI is one of those plays you want to keep a very close eye on, especially if we end up getting a strong pop. But I also know what you're saying. The market has picked up so much and this stock is moving like a snail. Again, patience will pay off, but just know you need to know what your personality type is and what's right for you. And that's why I always say doing your research, because if you're not patient, then you shouldn't be in plays that take time for it to move in the direction where it is supposed to go. I want to make sure that you guys put that on your table and you can do whatever you want to do with that, because I know there's many different types of people that'll call themselves investors, but they have no patience. You're a trader. So you need to find plays that fit your personality type. Also, we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership. We didn't see a lot of activity whatsoever. No surprises there. It is a SPAC, and we already know the type of name that SPACs have been getting. Yes, they did have their heydays where they were running up big time and so forth, but a lot has changed, and that's why I'm not surprised that institutions are not loading up a ton when it comes to shares. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, of course, it continues not to have short squeeze potential. But one thing that is clear, since it does does trade at relatively low volume, the moment you have more volume coming into the play, it can move up very quickly. And as far as for the merger for Polestar, I'm really looking forward to us getting closer to that date as far as for June the 22nd. Of course, I'm going to be voting in favor of the merger, so I want to make sure that you guys let me know inside of the comments what you're planning to do. But you know what? We already know what you're going to do anyways, but let us know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will continue to keep you guys updated as well. We'll talk soon.